Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back as we continue our discussion on 2024, the year that sucks if you're a game developer, with more terrible news. This is a cow's opinion. And God in heaven, I really hate the fact that this is what we're talking about. But yeah, we've talked about several other companies this month, and it's the last day of the month, and wouldn't you know it, Sega of America said, well, hold on, everybody. We got to get in on this too, because more than 10% of their staff of Sega of America now, not Sega proper in Japan, but Sega of America is set to lay off 61 employees in March. Now, this was spotted by Reset Era and reported on the nice Chris Scullion here at VGC, Oof. By Reset Era, the layoffs have been listed on What Layoff, which is the automated X account, which lists verified layoffs as they're announced. So, California has something called the WARN Act, which is Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification, which means you legally have to give 60 days notice before a mass layoff. If someone does something dumb, you can fire them. But if you're going to have significant layoffs, and I don't know what the standard is for a mass layoff, but 10% is probably definitely falls into that category. You have to give 60 days notice so people can start getting adjustments. VGC then confirmed via California's Employment Development Department that Sega of America has given notice of plans for two separate layoffs of 49 and 12 effective March 8th. Is that 60 days? Well, this is when they're finding it. It doesn't necessarily mean that today is the day they first announced it. Now, Sega of America is estimating approximately 440 staff, which is theoretically 10 to 13%. Maybe a little higher, maybe a little lower. Sega has not officially announced and has not responded to statements, but, guys, January alone in 2024 is already surpassed more than half of the layoffs last year. What the hell? We've got Microsoft cutting 8%, Riot Games 530, Unity laid off a quarter. Unity is the only one I understand. And also on Monday, I don't believe we covered this in an update because there's just too many of them, Eidos Montreal is laying off 97 people and canceled the unannounced Deus Ex game, which made Jesse Cox on Twitter very, very sad boy. So, this is a quickie because, honestly, I'm just getting tired of covering these. What does this mean? It means that the industry is choosing long-term losses for short-term profits. That's just what it's doing, guys. This is what happens when the industry is like, 3 to 5 years will be a good spot, but I don't really want to pay for these guys until then. Or I can't really figure out what to do, or the games that we force them to make aren't really selling. That one is in the case of Saints Row. They shut down the entire studio because they made them make that really god-awful Saints Row game that nobody liked and had the distinction of being buggy as hell. But I have noticed that a lot of the developers that used to be on that Saints Row team have now formed their own independent studio. And look, here's the opinion I wanted to give today as we're covering this Sega layoff. For the love of God in heaven, it's okay to make partnerships with massive developers and publishers. It's okay to work with them from time to time. Don't ever sell yourself to a major company, because that's how this stuff happens. Mergers and acquisitions, and then, oh, look, lots of layoffs because we're redundant now, because we don't need as many people. It's stupid, it's god-awful, it's terrible, and you just don't ever, if you ever have a business that's going really well and some big developer's like, hey, let me buy your game company, unless you need an exit strategy, like, I'm done, I don't want to make games anymore, they'll take all your IP, they'll rush out some shovelware garbage, and they'll fire a lot of the people who helped get you there today for a payout that you might not even get to fully enjoy, because it might be in stock and that company's stock is going to tank, and then you're going to be fired too after your employment contract. It sucks. This sucks. January is officially done today on the 31st, and yet I would expect a lot more layoffs. I think it's not going to slow down. Like I said last video, I don't think it's going to slow down, guys, until at least mid-spring. So for the love of God, support indie studios. And look, play more games because games are awesome and you deserve it. But I just want to say, the people who make the games we love deserve a hell of a lot better than they're getting. I'm just mad now, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off, guys.